Friends and viewer, good day. Sir Walter Scott, Ivanhoe. Sir Walter Scott is a very famous Scottish writer. He is well famed with the Ivanhoe and other famous novel. So it is written in 1819, and this book is a very famous book, well known, published in 1819. So Walter Scott, let me tell you about Walter Scott. Walter Scott, born in Edinburgh in 1771, called to the bar 1792, Sheriff Depute of Selkirk in 1799, Principal Clerk of Session 1806, moved to Abbotsford in 1812 and died there on 21st September 1832. So he is well famous about his book Ivanhoe, Sir Walter Scott. So Ivanhoe, what is Ivanhoe? What is it about? Let me tell you, this is a work of historical fiction by Walter Scott, provide a fanciful account of English life in the medieval 12th century, weaving together historical models of tournament, witch trials, outlaws, and Jewish-Christian conflict. Scott book attempt to revive interest in medievalism and romance in modern literary culture. It succeeds in doing so, contributing to popular character archetype such as King John and Robin Hood. The book primarily concerns the protagonist Wilfred of Ivanhoe, who goes on a journey full of romance, tournament, familiar reconciliation. As a result of his support for King Richard, Wilfred of Ivanhoe is disinherited by his father, Cedric of Rotherwood, including in his father's grievances is the fact that Ivanhoe has fallen in love with one of the Cedric's wards, Lady Rowena, a descendant of one of the England's Saxon King Cedric, had hoped to face Rowena to marry Lord Athelstane, a possible future king of England. Disinherited, Ivanhoe goes with King Richard on the Christian crusade, playing a leading role in the siege of Acre. He also gives medieval aid to Aloysius Thuringia while he suffers from malaria. A group of Norman kings and other ranked officials seeks attention, having been led there by a pilgrim. A night of their arrival, a Jewish lender, Ishaq of York, arrived from Israel to ask for refuge at Rotherwood. After dinner, the pilgrim sees one of the Norman knights, a Templar called Brian de Bois Guilbert, gives order to his soldier to take Ishaq hostages. The palmer helps Ishaq escape from Rotherwood, assisted by the swineherd Gurth, believing him to be a knight in a disguise. So Ishaq of York pledged to pay back the pilgrim with one of his suits of armor and a horse with which he can take part in a tournament at Ashby Lazuch Castle. The pilgrim is confused but accepts it anyway. So Ivanhoe, what happened? The pilgrim attends the tournament officiated by Prince John. Also attending are Athelstane, Lady Rowena, Cedric, and Ishaq of York with his daughter Rebecca. Prince John's advisor Fitzurse came in with a troop of Normans. On the tournament first day, the competitor jurist, a knight who calls himself only a Deschidado, Spanish for disinherited, wins every jousting match he takes part in. Even though at Prince John's request, he refuses to reveal himself, he is named the day's champion anyway. He chooses the tournament queen, picking Lady Rowena. On the tournament's second day, Desiderato is nearly bested in a melee but is rescued by a knight called Lenoir Finint, French for the black sluggard. His rescuer vanishes. Desiderato is forced to unmask himself to be awarded the championship, revealing himself to be the Wilfrid of Ivanhoe. Prince John becomes hostile, fearing that King Richard will return. Ivanhoe's father is reluctant to help, heals Ivanhoe's wounds from the tournament. Rebecca, a competent healer, helps him in their temporary lodging and then travels with him toward home in York. In the forest, Rebecca and Ivanhoe are abandoned by their guards who steal their horses. Cedric, Lady Rowena, and Athelstane join them. The whole group is captured by de Bracy and taken to the castle of Font de Beauf. The Black Knight offers to rescue them. When he arrives at the castle with his army, he delivers a note demanding the hostages. The captor requests a priest to give Cedric the final sacrament, pretending to cede to their demands. They send Cedric Jester Wamba in disguise as a priest. He takes Cedric's place in the cell, who escape and gives besieger allegiance about the castle. As they launch as an assault, the daughter of castle first lord Stone set it on fire to avenge his death. Front de Beauf dies and de Bracy surrendered to the Black Knight. The Black Knight revealed himself to be King Richard and releases him. Bios Gilbert flees with Rebecca, the clerk of Copmanhurst, save Isaac. Cedric saves Lady Rowena and King Richard rescues Ivanhoe. Athelstane is assumed to have died before being rescued. After siege, Locksley hosts King Richard. De Bracy tells Prince John that the king has returned and that Torquilstone has died. Boyce Gilbert takes Rebecca to a Templar preceptory where the Grand Master rejects his love for her and subjects her to a trial for witchcraft. She writes her father to get a champion to engage in the battle for her. Cedric set up a funeral for Athelstane. The Black Knight appears. Cedric is upset about after leaving who the knight is, but Richard calms him and they reconcile. As they speak, Athelstane suddenly emerges from his coffin alive, pledging loyalty to the King Richard. He tells Cedric to set up Rowena and Ivanhoe. Cedric agrees. Not long after the reconciliation at the funeral, Ivanhoe receives a message from Isaac asking him to fight for Rebecca. He rides for many hours without rest to get to the castle on time. Arriving exhausted and unlikely to win, he faces off against Boyce Gilbert, and they charge at each other with their lances. Boyce Gilbert seemed to be winning, but dies of natural causes, having misplaced his energy and selfish pursuit. In the battle aftermath, Rebecca and her father decide to flee England for Granada to avoid persecution. Rebecca says goodbye to Rowena on the day of her wedding. Rowena marries Ivanhoe, and they have a happy marriage. Ivanhoe continues to serve in the military until King Richard dies. Having traversed all the obstacles of combat and medieval royalism successfully, the character left at the end of the novel view themselves as the victors and fated protagonists, having created order out of the chaos of human life. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Ivanhoe, the famous novel of Sir Walter Scott, and this is one of the best novel written about the middle, where the story of medieval knights and chivalries and the Templars. So I think if you read it, you can enjoy it. Thank you very much.